It has been 3 years since I was last on Princess cruises, when I vowed to never return after going on 3 underwhelming cruises in the space of 12 months, Sky and Regal Princess in Europe and Majestic Princess in Alaska. I felt Princess had lost its way and they had slipped behind their competition in the premium category. In fact, I made a video after those cruises which is entitled My Last Time, Issues I Have with Princess, about my feelings. But I finally relented because I wanted to go on a group cruise hosted by my vlogger friends Paul and Carol Love to Travel, which was on Sky Princess. So I decided to go back and see if they had improved. Welcome aboard, I'm Gary Bembridge, and here's what I found, good and bad. First, a quick reminder of who and what Princess is. They're part of the Carnival Corporation, operating in what the cruise industry calls the premium category, competing with Holland America Line, Celebrity Cruises, Cunard and Virgin Voyages based on price and their overall offer. They are actually the largest of those based on passengers carried. Like those other premium lines, they offer more traditional cruise entertainment, dining and enrichment experience. Princess has a wide range of cabins, like those other lines do, from inside to suites, and they attract a wide range of cruisers. Now, while it tends to mostly be older couples, they also appeal increasingly to families and multi-generational groups, particularly in the summer months in the Mediterranean and Alaska, and in the holiday periods in the Caribbean. They offer itineraries in most regions of the world, with a fleet at the time of recording of 17 ships, which are getting larger and larger. While they do have some smaller ships like Coral Princess of 2000, their more recent Royal class, which includes Sky Princess, carries 3,660, and their newest Sphere class ships like Sun Princess carry 4,310 passengers. So let's find out what I felt has improved. Based on those older trips, I was very critical of the food, and I was delighted to find they've made a huge improvement by bringing on board Rudy Soderman, a well-respected restaurateur and chef, to help oversee the improvement. He had worked with Holland America Line, their sister line within the Carnival Corporation, to significantly improve their food, and he has definitely done that on Princess too. The improvement is most obvious in the main dining room. It has been elevated with a decent-sized menu, but really good choices. The starters, main courses and desserts were all consistently good, and certainly for their category and fares, they are now, I would say, among the best of their direct competition. Of course, they do not match the luxury lines, but I wouldn't expect that for the fares that I'm paying. They've also made good changes in the main dining room formats to match the needs of different types of people cruising these days, and certainly different from when I was on last time. On Sky Princess, they had 3 main dining rooms. Soliel offered traditional fixed dining, so you could have a set table and waiters and choose early 5:30 p.m. or late 7:45 p.m. settings for the entire cruise. Estrella offered anytime dining where you could walk in with no reservations. Now, part of Estrella had reserve collection dining, which was for people traveling in suites or reserve collection mini suites with a slightly elevated menu. Then there was Celio restaurant, where you had to make reservations, which could be done before the cruise or during the cruise on the app, kind of day by day as you wished. In the World Fresh Marketplace, which is the buffet, I felt the food there was fine too, probably not as elevated as in the main dining room, but also, I believe, improved. A standout change were the large vegan, vegetarian and gluten-free sections, which is way more than any other line I have seen. Like the other lines, they did have different themes every day, like pub lunch, American comfort food, Indian, Italian, picnic barbecue, seafood and sushi, and so on, all of which I could see was very, very popular. They've also kept and elevated their bakery section. Princess do place some focus on cookies, cakes and desserts, which I think is strong in the category and still is. In terms of specialty dining, it has not changed significantly from my last trips, although the new large Sphere class ships, Sun and Star, do have added new specialty venues. On most of the ships, they still have Crown Grill, which is their steakhouse, which is a pretty standard one. And while my visit was fine, it was no better than past trips. Others on the group cruise, they reported a much more mixed experience there. Sabatini's, which is their Italian restaurant, that still exists. It's not changed much, but they now have a seafood restaurant, Catch by Rudy, which was probably the most popular of the 3 specialty restaurants. Informal dining options have not changed, though unlike before, you cannot go as often as you like within the base fare. Alfredo's still is there. It has excellent pizzas, which I think probably are my favorite at sea on any line I've been on. And they also have the Ocean Terrace sushi bar. That's still there. There's no real change that I could see. But when I was on last time, both were included in the fare and I could dine as often as I wanted. But now I'd bought the Princess Plus package, I could go just twice, once to each or twice to just one of them. If I'd bought the Princess Premier package, I could have gone as much as I wanted. But if I had neither package, these were added charge venues. Those still included in the fare up on the pool deck is the Salty Dog Grill, hamburgers, hot dogs, slice for pizzas nowhere near as good as Alfredo's, and then Swirl's soft serve ice cream. That's still all included within the base fare. All are the same as my older trips and they haven't got better or worse. The other Princess standard is the International Cafe, which in Sky Princess is on deck 5 in the atrium. It's still open 24 hours a day with food and snacks relevant to the time of the day. Now, whilst those are included in the fare, the coffees and teas are not, but they are included if you've got the Plus or Premier packages. The other venue is the Gelato Store, which serves ice cream and sundaes that cost around $17 each, but you get 2 a day if you have the Plus package and unlimited numbers if you're on the Premier package. The options that they had for Sundays look to be the same as from past trips. Now, I will talk more on the packages later because there are some negative changes since my last trips that I do want to talk about. But overall, I was pleased that I found the food to be a big improvement. So what else did I find improved versus my previous trips? The second area which I thought was elevated versus last time was the entertainment and the daily program. It's now jam-packed and seems to be catering even more for higher energy, active and highly sociable travelers. I counted at least 75 different activities on a sea day listed in the Princess Pata daily program, with 15 of those running after 10 p.m. and late into the night. So much more going on and later I found than most of their competitors. I did find it to be a much more party atmosphere, buzzier, high energy, especially in the evenings versus before. In terms of entertainment, they've kept their production shows, which are definitely more contemporary than most of the other lines. The 3 on Sky Princess were rock opera. It's got pretty creative staging, glitzy costumes, high production values. 5 Skies, a story themed around a video game, which is quite innovative. And Spotlight Bar, which is heavily inspired by the popular Choir of Man show that's set in a bar. There's a lot of live music and cabaret shows around the ship in the evening with a band in the atrium, occasionally also playing on the pool deck, and at various times in the Vista Lounge. They have cabaret shows by the guest entertainers in the Vista Lounge. There's Take 5 with a resident jazz band, and at the Crown Grill Bar they have the pianist, guitarist or violinist playing sets through the evening. In terms of the other activities, it is a fairly classic one, including Zumba and dance classes, enrichment and port talks, culinary-based events like vegetable carving, executive chef talks, galley tours. There were multiple sessions of different games, shows like Deal or No Deal, the Yes or No game, lots and lots of different themed trivia, movies on the pool deck or in the Princess Live. They had lots of games in the atrium like Officers versus Passenger Challenges, Hoopla. They had a Voice of the Seas competition inspired by TV's The Voice, arts and craft classes, bingo, silent discos, sports activities like five-a-side games and table tennis. There are also many revenue-generated activities like shopping events, art auctions, wine tasting, cocktail making, and so on. More on this topic later. I felt the entertainment has definitely been ramped up, it's higher energy, and there's much more a feeling of buzz and activity. And I do think they're catering even more than before for a livelier party, social crowd. Certainly, many on my cruise were up until the very small hours of the morning every single night. Another thing I felt was elevated since those last trips I've been on was port information and immersion. And they particularly seem to be catering much better for people who want to self-explore, which I really liked. The port talks were by an independent speaker, not connected to the shore excursions team. She gave information on history, sights to see, places to eat, how to get around, and so on. Then they had 2 sets of port guides for each port. One was a 4-pager that was available on the app, or you could get it as a document which had an overview of each of the ports. But the night before, another 2-pager was left in the cabin with specifics about where our ship was actually going to be docking, how to get into town, a map, currency required. the port agent, all aboard time, and information really specific to that specific sailing. They also then had screens around the ship reminding passengers of the all aboard time and encouraging self-explorers to take a photo of the important port agent information in case of issues or delays. Of course, they did still have a range of shore excursions of various different types available, but I really liked what I feel is a new focus on catering for self-explorers like me. So that's what I felt has improved. Now on to what unfortunately stayed the same, and then what I felt has got worse. While some I spoke to felt service was really good, I didn't think it was, and it definitely was no better than my last times. I think it was fine, it was pretty transactional, and at times it was, though, quite erratic. I found and still do see the service on Princess at best average and below their competitors like Celebrity and Holland America, maybe because those lines have smaller ships. The service is fine. I didn't really feel the crew went a further step. It didn't feel particularly elevated. Like on my past trips, I did not feel anyone was worth naming as standout crew on the end of the cruise survey. It was all just fine and pretty standard. It's clear to me that the benefits of the Medallion technology have not helped improve service since my last times. So let me talk a little bit more about this. Princess Medallion is a small wearable device that replaced cruise cards to open cabin doors, check on and off the ship, to make purchases on board, and the ships have technology that tracks and identifies each guest via the various devices that the crew have. The concept was it was supposed to help provide a more personal service on these large ships because the crew would be able to address guests by name, and at launch it was said in the publicity it would also allow crew to capture key information about guests and notes to then help crew personalize without asking, such as your favorite drinks, if you like caffeine-free Coke or whatever. But I saw no improvements from before, and even the waiter I had every single day for breakfast didn't remember my usual order and quirks. It was still handy because it opened my cabin door as I approached. It worked perfectly fine to buy things, to check on and off the ship, and crew would often call me by name because it came up on their devices, but not always. It was also supposed to make ordering drinks and food on the app better because the Medallion identifies where you are for the crew to bring it to you. Now, like on previous trips, I found it remains rather hit and miss about how effective and fast ordering work. And to be honest, I just gave up and I ended, as in the past, just going to the bar or up to the venue to order food. I could use it to activate some of the screens to then get into my account and make various bookings around the ship, but again, no better or improvement from before. So what do I think has got worse versus last time? All of these probably fall under the term of nickel and diming, as it's called, and this covers a couple of areas. First of all, there was definitely more focus and push on revenue generation on board than before, with, as I mentioned, many daily program activities there to generate more money. Things like art auctions, bingo, spa events, fitness classes, shopping events, shopping advisors, drink tasting, photographers were all over the place, and so on. On the daily program, at least 20 of the 75 activities per day that I counted were designed to generate more revenue. Secondly, some things included in the fare are now extra charges. I already mentioned Alfredo's and the Ocean Terrace Sushi Bar, but now there were upcharges on all the menus, both in the main dining room and even specialty restaurants like Crown's Grill for some cuts of meat and certain dishes, so upcharges on all the menus. Thirdly, there have been some downgrades on the Princess Plus and Princess Premier packages. Just before my cruise, Princess removed soda cans out of the drinks package. So unlike before, I had to get a little bit of discount if I wanted soda cans like caffeine-free Diet Coke or Coke Zero, stuff that's not available in the soda dispensers behind the bar. I could also only order one drink at a time, and you could have no double pours. Also, while with the Princess Premier package, you get unlimited specialty dining, friends of mine who had it and hadn't booked specialty dining before boarding found it was all full and they couldn't use the perk at all. So based on all of this, is Princess firmly back on my list of lines to cruise with again, even over their other direct competition? Probably not, because I feel that Holland America and Celebrity probably still meet my needs better, but for the right itinerary, I probably would consider them. However, if you're looking for a premium line, like the choices a bigger ship can offer, you want diverse itinerary options, and definitely an active and lively daily program, Princess Cruises could be something to consider. But Find out how Princess stacks up in my view versus those other premium lines. Join me over in this video where I break down which each of those premium lines does best and worst. See you over there.